Alrighty. Today we are going to be looking at the web remote control plugin for Unreal. So a lot of people have been asking me, so this is Unreal's virtual production demo. They did the OG, the original. And so obviously here they show an iPad app, as you can see, web-based controls on iPad using REST API. And they demo this, changing like the lighting setup and everything for their setup. Supposedly they were going to release this iPad app and all this stuff about it, and they haven't yet. So, a couple of people have been asking how to do this, so that's what I'm going to be showing you how to do today. We won't end up with an iPad app like this, but the basics. So this is going to be split probably into three parts. The first part is how to get it running and how it works. This second part is will be how to create a basic app using Unreal, believe it or not, to control another Unreal using this web control. And then the third one is maybe some more advanced stuff. Like so. What we're going to be doing today is based off of the quick start guide on the Unreal docs. So, if you want to get the, code and stuff, then you can just copy and paste it straight from this, because that's where I'll be getting it from. So what we're going to do to start off with is we are just going to create a new template or new project off of the games, and I will be using the third person today just because that's what they recommended, and so that'll be easiest. Technically this will work with any project, but for the example, I guess, or the basics, we're going to go with third person. So I'm going to call it web control tutorial, and we're going to create the project. Alrighty, so here's the third person. We can run around as fun as it is. Alrighty. So the first thing we need to do is go into our plugins, and I'm just going to disable some of the plugins that I have as is. What we're going to do is we are going to look for the web control plugin, web control API, like so. So it sounds very confusing, yes, it's in beta, that's okay. So like control via a web server remotely through HTTP requests. If you don't know what any of that means, it's probably like, what does that mean? How do I go about doing that? So, wait for this to quickly start back up again. Alrighty. So now we have it enabled, and you'll notice nothing different because it is all accessed through the output. Where is it? Developer tools, output log. That's what I want. So it's all through commands, which makes it a bit annoying. So the first command we're going to be using is under section 2 here, manage the server. So we've got start the server, stop the server, and enable on server on startup. So enable on startup is going to be handy if you are doing like packaging the project, because obviously there's probably not going to be any way of entering into the console to start it up once you've packaged the project. So starting it up automatically is going to be the go-to. But for now, we are actually just going to do the regular start server here and hit enter. And so as you can see, it says starting all listeners, created new listener on 127.0.0.1, 8080, all listeners started. So the next comes to how on earth do we actually do something with this? How do I send it a request? So the way we are going to be doing that is using a program called Postman. So if we come over here and just type it in, Postman, not Postman Pat, but this one, Postman, the collaboration platform for API development, all sounds very boring. So Postman is a way of testing these things, but is not a way of creating a final product for these things. So you will not be able to create a proper app with Postman to control this, but it is good for testing and understanding how it works. So create an account. I think I've already got an account. Alright, so once you've created an account with Postman, you'll get this thing with the desktop agent. So we will need the desktop agent to work for this because our Unreal is not exposed to the public internet, so the internet version of Postman cannot send a request. So we will download the desktop version and install it. There's nothing to do in the desktop version though, like you can't actually, it just runs in the background, there's no GUI or anything like that. So yeah, go ahead and install it. Alright, so Postman just installed, so you see it running down here, Postman agent. You can use another one, Skype. Whoops, and OneDrive, close. Yes, go away. So Postman's running down there. You can use another one called Insomnia, but that also requires you to install something, and as far as I'm concerned, Postman is the nicer looking one. Whether they're easier to use, I'm not sure. So in Postman, it all looks a wee bit confusing. The first thing we're going to do is enable dark mode, because my eyes, thank you. So what we are going to do is first make sure Post is running on the computer. So if we just hit the plus button down here and click desktop, there we go, sending your request to the desktop agent. That's good. So essentially that just means that because Unreal is not exposed to the greater internet, then Postman cannot send a request from the internet to it, so it has to send it from your local computer. So Postman might look a bit confusing, but all we want to do is create a request, which is here. So the first thing we're going to do is change our request type. So that video with, strangely enough, that video of the virtual production says it uses a REST API, but that's sort of wrong. Technically, a REST API can use all of these requests, but Unreal can only use a put request. So, yeah. Next, we need to send our URL. So we're going to start with http / so hypertext. No, that's HTML. HTTP does stand for something, I just cannot remember what it was. So this is the internet, local host, which is our local computer. Host 8080. So this is the address Unreal specified here. So 127.0.0.1 is just this computer, and then 8080 is the port. So the port comes up twice in Unreal, but it only actually means once. So yeah. Next, what we need to do is specify the location, or specify what we're doing in the project. So remote is the remote API. We are calling an object in this scene, and we're calling it. So that's how that works. So next what we are going to do is, so you would think, if you know how to use REST, then you would think to enter keys and values, which is how it looks like it is in the Unreal documentation, but that is actually wrong. So what we need to do is we need to switch to body, and then we need to switch to raw, and then on this little drop down we need JSON. So it sends JSON stuff over. So now, for some reason, the first thing it mentions in the documentation is just getting the values of the light, and last I checked that didn't actually work, so I'm not sure if that had been changed since one of the updates or what, but yeah, it didn't work. So we're going to skip straight down to step 6 in the send results, which is going to be this code. So just paste it straight into Postman. So your object path, so game, third person, maps, third person example map, persistent level, light source 0, light component 0. We're going to send a function. So these functions are actually the same or very similar to blueprint functions. I believe you can just type a blueprint function in and do it. And then this would be the equivalent of the pins on the function if you had split the struct pin. So we were going to do new rotation 0, 0, and 90. And then generate transaction means whether or not the engine sees it happens, I guess. When you set this to true, then you can undo it in the engine with Control-Z. If you set it to false, then you can't. So that doesn't actually make that big a difference when it comes to doing it in runtime. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to split these windows. And so we're running here. So here is our map. And then all we have to do in Postman is hit the send button. Boop. And then Postman will send the request and ta-da! Just like that. So it's just, as you can see in the body, it is a send. Unreal has sent us back some data, none of which. So blocking here, penetrating, face index, time, distance, location, impact point, normal, impact normal, trace start, trace end, penetrate. So it seems to just do like a line trace by channel for some reason. Why, I have no idea. Obviously doesn't really have a start or end location, so as you can see here, so it didn't actually hit anything, but yeah, there we go. So we just changed the lighting in our scene. And so you can go ahead and you can change pitch to say 180 and send the command. Then that's going to change the lighting again. No, I can't remember what Unreal's lighting needs to be. Negative 180. Send. Pitch. I don't even. Okay. The light source has been bugged for some reason. Because setting that to 180 doesn't actually change the light. Now we've got preview everywhere. Anyway, I've bugged out the lighting. But as you can see, as I change these values, if I set this to 360 and we hit send, you can see that immediately get updated in the rotation. 180. It's changing the Z value as well. Actually, that shouldn't be that big of an issue because directional lights don't care about that. Okay, anyway, so there you go. Now. There's one issue with this setup. So you may think, oh, done and dusted. You know, shake my hands off, clap my, dust my hands off. We're done and dusted. But if we go over to my laptop, here I got Postman open as well, and we do the same thing. What have I done? Launchpad, create a new request. So I put request. I'm just going to straight away copy and paste the values again. It's going to be this one. In here, paste, and we're going to go body, we're going to do raw, and we're going to go JSON, and we're going to copy paste this like so. Now, because this is a different computer, I can't use localhost because Unreal is not running on this computer. So if we switch back to my desktop and we just do good old-fashioned ipconfig in this command prompt, we're going to get our IP address, which is here, Ethernet 192.168.122. So that is my local Ethernet, not my public one. So on the laptop, if we change localhost on our request to 192.168.122. Okay, so theoretically, this should then change our light to 90 degrees. So we hit send, and error not found. Oh, I entered an extra number. Alrighty, now we hit send, and to be clear, this is this is still expected to error. It's just we got the wrong error the first time. It's taking a long time, right? So what you're going to end up with is a timeout request, because it's just not going to go through. There you go, error request timed out. And you can send this as many times as you want. The problem, if we go back to the desktop, is when we very first started it, you may notice this. Created new HTTP listener on 127001. So as I explained before, that means this computer, which means Unreal is only listening for commands that originate from this computer, which means even a laptop on the same network, a tablet, all that sort of stuff, Unreal will not receive commands from those. Only things that originate on this computer, which is why Postman works, why none of this works. Very annoying, and something that the Unreal documentation does not cover. So we get all the way to the end. They show us how to update the sky material, which I could probably just do by hand. I don't even know where it is. Just click on it. Refresh material. Oh, there we go. So they show us how to update that, and then they're like, okay, that's done and dusted. No, that's it. On your own. So there is an endpoint reference, but it also does not tell you how to do this, as from my understanding. Put remote, yeah, examples, doesn't, it's so annoying. So, how do we do this? Because this is a very important part of this whole setup. Well, buried in a forum post that I can't even remember where it is, so great apologies if this happens to be you that had said this, but what we need to do is we need to close Unreal. Postman can go away as well, we're done with that, yep. Alright, so we need to find where Unreal is installed. Now, in my case, it is actually installed somewhere else. However, it should not be difficult to find where it is installed, especially from the Epic Games launcher, because you can just open where it is installed in the Epic Games launcher. Can I do this and still get it to work? Unreal library. Here we go. 4.23. Okay. There is a way to get it from the launcher, or you can just Google it, or yeah. So it'll be in the Epic folder, wherever other things like Fortnite and stuff are installed. That's where that's going to be. So we need to go into there, and we need to edit the base engine ini. Can't remember what ini stands for. You can do this on a per project basis, but it's just handier to do it all at once. So right click and edit it, and this will open up in a text editor, so Notepad or Notepad++ if you happen to have that installed, like so. Next, we are going to get this single line of code from this forum that I cannot remember where. That is this. I don't know if I can. Here we go. I'll make it nice and big for everyone. So this changes the default binding address of the Unreal web server to 0000. So where 127.0.0.1 was all requests originating on that computer, 0000 is all requests that are targeted to that computer. And so we're going to copy this as is. This is the formatting, this is the capitalization and everything, and we're going to paste it directly under the HTTP section in the default ini. Here, I'll make that a bit bigger. So, Control V, Control C. Spaces don't actually matter in these ini settings between lines, so that's okay. And then we're going to save it. So you would not believe how long it took me to find that. So now if we restart Unreal, and go into our web control tutorial, Alright, so now we've restarted Unreal and we're in that tutorial. It's nice and shady. So now if we grab the start server, which is webcontrol.startServer, like so, and we paste it in, hit enter, you'll notice something different. Create a new HTTP listener on 0.0.0.08080. So now it is good. So if we switch over to the laptop and attempt to send the same request again, ta-da! It was successful. It went through and we got the return. So on the desktop, nothing changed really, but if I refresh the material, it is now nighttime. Somehow the lighting got baked in. I didn't actually bake the lighting. Anyway, I guess probably switching this to a movable light would be the best option. So just like that, we can now send requests from an external computer it's on the same network, but it's an external to, there we go, external to the computer, to our Unreal on a different computer. If I switch this to like, 0, and then send it, that should update the lighting on this computer again. If I refresh the material, it did, but it doesn't like a movable directional light apparently. Oh, it's because it's at such an odd angle. I can't remember what the actual. Let's send it again. There we go. Boop. There we go. Awesome. So there you go. So again, you can fiddle around with Postman to try all the different things you can do with it, and fiddle around with this. This is a great way of testing your commands before actually implementing them. And in the next video, which probably it's not going to be immediately after this one, but it'll be within the week, I hope. We're going to look at how to create a simple iPad app inside Unreal to send these commands for us that you can then run on a different laptop, or you can compile it and run it on like an Android tablet or a web browser with the HTML plugin, hopefully. I haven't tested that exactly. Yeah. So hopefully this is helpful to some people. It was probably a bit long, but I've yet to see a tutorial on how to do this elsewhere, so yeah, hopefully it helps someone.